Welcome to zebracode.io. We are in lesson 3, and this is a demo of how to navigate the command line using the Linux environment. And we're also going to be using the Linux environment on Python Anywhere. So to get started, let's go ahead first to our Python Anywhere. We should have already created an account, and this is the base page or the dashboard page, and there are two options here. We really want to focus on the consoles and the files. Let's start with files because the files is a graphical user interface in the web that's very easy to use. So if I want to create a new directory right here, I can create one and I'll call it HW. That's going to be for homework, and I've just created a new directory called HW within the Zebra code path. Now within HW, I can create another directory very simply. I can create a file within this folder using the top box here to create a new directory and this bottom one to create a new file. So in this case, let's create a new directory. Let's create another directory and let's call it lesson3. So we're going to put all our code within a homework folder, and then within that we're going to have another folder called lesson3, and we're going to create all of our code. And the first thing we're going to do is create a new file called hello.py. This is going to be a new empty file. Make sure you put the .py, and this is where our code is going to go in the .py file. That opens up another browser window where we can actually enter our code. So let's create a little code here called print hello. It's going to be a very simple program stored within a hello.py file, and it's going to run this code here. So we're saving it here within zebracode/homework/lesson3. We have a file called hello.py, and I can go ahead and save that. Now, to execute that code or to run that code, we can use a console. And it's nice to have two browser windows open, one with all of your files where you do all the editing, and the consoles where we're going to edit it. So under the Consoles tab, let's click the Bash option. And when we click the Bash option, it opens a Bash console for us. And notice we get the $sign. That means the prompt is ready, the Bash prompt is ready for us to enter our commands. We can type ls, and that's a list, and it sees all the commands. We can type cd, that changes our directory into the homework folder, and then I can type ls and see a listing, and I have lesson 3. I can cd within lesson 3, which is a folder, and I can finally see my file hello.py. Now, if I want to run this program, I'm going to enter Python 3 because in this case, there's an option for Python 3 or Python 2. So I specifically want to say Python 3, then the file name, in this case, hello.py, and that executes the code, and I can see the print hello right below it. So the next idea I want to learn is let's remove or let's delete this file. Let's rm hello.py, and if I execute this code, now I have deleted hello.py, and if I hit list, there is nothing to print it out because that file has been deleted. So the next thing we want to learn is another way to create files. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's directly from the command line. It's using nano. So I can do nano hello1.py, and that's going to create a new file called hello1.py. Now I can go ahead and write some code here within this file, within the command line still using nano, and there are some options. I can use Control X to exit, or if I want to save it, I use Control O, and that writes it out. I've used Control O here, and now I can actually return, and it actually saves the file. When I hit return, I get confirmation that the file was saved. And that's a brief introduction into Nano. So using Nano, if you want to make a simple edit without exiting here and going to the files on Python Anywhere, you can actually edit the files here right at the command line by using the Nano command. When using Python Anywhere, I recommend you open two browser windows. One's going to be a console and one's going to be a file. So you can edit the code in the files, and then you can rerun the code when you've made the change or after you made those changes in the console. So let's go ahead and reopen through the file system this print hello, this simple program that we've written, and let's add another line to it. And this is going to say this prints another line. So we've editing the code here. We're going to save it within our Files tab or at Python Anywhere. And to execute it, we just simply say Python 3 hello.py. Now I realize I've made an error here because what I've actually called the file is hello1.py because we were renaming the file. So I can edit this. It's going to be called hello1.py, and once I hit return, it's going to execute the script. I can see the two lines being printed out. So let's make some additional changes. Let's do what we previously did in last week's homework, and let's create a new variable called sq, or first of all, let's get x. X is assigned the value of input enter a number. So this is going to be the prompt to the user. Whatever the user enter, it's going to be stored in a variable called x. Now x originally is going to be a string value, so in order to do numerical calculations, I need to convert it to an integer. So I'm going to create a new variable called sq. It's assigned the value of taking the x value, converting it to an integer, and then multiplying it by itself, and that gives me the square value. And then I can print the sq value, which is a variable which stores the square. So now I can use the up arrows and down arrows to navigate to the most recent command lines, and I can execute Python 3 hello1.py again, and I get the number. It tells me to enter a number. I enter number 4. It returns the value 16. And I can do this again and again. In this case, I'm going to enter the number 5, and I get 25. So what we've quickly learned is how to have two tabs, a Files tab and a Consoles tab, and we can navigate back and forth between them. When the Files tab allows us to edit and save our code, and then we can execute it from the Console tab at Python Anywhere. And these are the commands we've learned to navigate, and we should become familiar with these both from the Windows environment and from the Linux environment. And once you get familiar with these, we can edit our code, we can create new .py files, and then we can execute our code. And that's a major step in learning how to code using Python.